Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Cyborg Superman. If Saturday morning cartoons fueled your imagination as a kid and powers your action figure collecting now as an adult, then you're in the right place. Thanks for stopping by and welcome to Saturday Morning Toy Collector. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Articulated Empire is your newest online retailer for shopping for your favorite figures and toy lines like Mythic Legions, Savage Crucible, and Animal Warriors of the Kingdom, to name a few. They ship your orders quickly and securely. Visit articulatedempire.com today and build your empire. All right, here we have the package, and as you can see, everything that is included is visible. We have a couple of extra hands, his base, his card back there. Boy, he's looking really nice and shiny. I really like the juxtaposition of the blue and the silver. I think it's looking pretty cool. Flipping on here on the side, we do see Cyborg Superman, Revenge of the Green Lanterns. I've seen somebody else point this out, that it's kind of odd that they put Revenge of the Green Lanterns instead of like Return of the Supermen, but I guess it ultimately really doesn't matter to me because I'm throwing the box away. Here on the back we have some nice artwork. I do think it's, you know, a little simplistic, but it's nice. It's cool. I do like that they showed kind of like a little Easter egg here, that the leg is only bending in one spot, because that leg only bends in one spot thanks to other reviews that I've seen. So let's get this guy opened up and check him out. All right, going over the accessories, we do have a little Cyborg Superman card here, same artwork from the back. And then let's see what they're going here with the bio. It does look like they're going with the, you know, astronaut Hank Henshaw aboard the LexCorp shuttle, the Excalibur, and we know how that goes. The crew was doomed. They eventually all committed suicide, and then Hank transferred himself into Superman's birthing chamber, went off into the space, figured out that Superman was a bad guy, and came back to Earth to try to replace him. We do have that DC Universe stand, very ubiquitous. We're used to those at this point. And then we get 4 hands here, which is really nice. We get a flesh-colored punching fist. It's got a very nice skin tone to it. And then a flesh-toned like gesturing hand, which I actually really like. And then I like that we get some personality here. We get a fist, a metal punching fist, and then a pointing finger. Very accusatory. You're not the real Superman. I dig this. I'm glad that we have some gesturing options. We don't normally always get those, and I'm really glad to have it. Alrighty, here we have Cyborg Superman standing straight up and down right out of the package, and he's looking really good. I love the vibrant colors of this guy. I love the soft goods on the cape. I do kind of wish he had that yellow Superman shield on the cape, but that's okay. Anytime we're getting a wired cape, I'm happy. I do wish McFarlane would wire the bottom of the capes as well. But you know, hey, we gotta start somewhere, right? Beggars can't be choosers. I think this guy looks incredible. There are a little bit of discrepancies between like being very comic accurate, but I think he gets all of the high points. He hits the high points here. And what I'm getting, I'm liking. I don't happen to have a Cyborg Superman in my collection, so this is definitely going to fill that void until, you know, FOMO takes over and I end up like getting the Mafex version, which I probably should have done already. But yeah, this guy is looking really good. Let's get him off the base and let's take a closer look at some of that detail that's sculpted into this guy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and say, for all intents and purposes, and somebody in the comments correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that this guy is largely the Superman that was used from the Hush release, the Hush Superman.
this is kind of like the best, most closest approximation to a classic suit Superman that I have. So this is what we're going to go with. You will see there's a few like little panel lines like on the thighs that's kind of missing here. And then across the little chest and part of the shoulder, it's also missing. But I think largely a lot of these parts come from this particular Superman. We're going to use that as a basis of comparison anyway. But just looking at this guy, man, I really love the sculpted detail here. I think this is going to be, you know, there's a few nitpicks I have that's keeping it from being one of the best, you know, McFarlane releases to date, but I think it's pretty close. First of all, I'm going to say I love the skin tone, the skin color that they chose, especially compared to the Hush Superman, which was always kind of like the skin tone was a little too desaturated for me, and a little, I don't know, pale. This one is very nice, has a good mixture of the yellow and magenta in the skin tone. I love the sculpted windswept hair. I think that looks great. Very nice. I love the little curl coming down here in the front. The head is particularly nice. I love the detail here. It looks really, really good. Especially the eye and the gradient painted or printed on the eye has that glowing effect. Looks really nice. Very menacing face and does, you know, look very Terminator-ish. I love the classic shield. This is all sculpted. You can see how detailed it is and how it's raised. It looks really good. Lots of detail on the neck. I know that's not particularly comic accurate, but to me, it fits the bill. It does, it completes the look to me, so I'll allow it. I do like there's a little port right here. It looks like that's maybe where his cape is tucked, which is really nice. And then we've got some torn suit right here. Lots of sculpted detail in the arm and chest. One of the details I love is that they even sculpted a little piston on the hinge portion. So like when you do bend his arm, it does look like it's functioning as a hinge. Another little detail that I love is if you can see like right back here, there's a little cutout just above his hip. And like right in there, you can see that you can poke all the way through. You can see all the way through and how the upper torso hangs over. I think that's a nice little touch. I love like the muscle work here and in the front. It looks really good. Like I said, this is by and large a classic suit Superman, and I think it looks absolutely fantastic. Couple of little details that I've noticed is we do have an oval sculpted like right here, which I think is a misstep from the factory. I think this should have been painted silver. You can see we have another little silver bit right here that was sculpted and it was painted. Probably gonna have to hit this with some silver paint myself because it just kind of bothers me. I thought we had like a built-in sort of like break point right here so they could do like a thigh cut, but they did not. Not a lot of detail sculpted on the leg. Maybe that is comic accurate. The back does have a lot of like a piston sculpted onto the joint. We've got some cabling going on. It does look pretty nice. But this is kind of like my biggest sticking point because you can see that there is a hole that goes all the way through the leg because that's, you know, they're trying to be comic accurate. But because of that hole, they can't do a double joint. Right there. So we only get a single joint. And I think I would have rather them just treated this like this, like treated this hole like this hole. Just make it a joint. And, you know, we don't have to be so comic accurate. Don't have to be so slavish to it, especially if you're missing stuff like this and another bit up here on the arm we're going to look at in a minute. I think I would have rather had that double joint there for maximum posability. Talking about the arm, you can see that right back here on the arm is some sculpted metallic detail. As it is, it's not painted. It looks like maybe it's underneath the suit and the suit's just skin tight and it's adhering to that form. But, you know, I think I will probably hit that with some silver. But then again, you know, it's on the back of the arm. Who's going to actually see it? Going over articulation here, I do kind of wish the hair was a little more pliable than it is. Is because you can only look up that much. And if the hair was a little more pliable, it was a little softer plastic, then you'd probably get some more range of mobility. But you can look down. It is on a ball joint, so you're going to get some nice bobble and rotation and move all the way around. We do have what McFarlane uses as a butterfly joint with this cuff piece right here. I just think this is just a standard shoulder joint with some rotation. Not a true butterfly because it doesn't actually kind of like cut into the front or the back. So you're not going to get, you know, far across his chest. Other than that, it's just barely getting the fist in front of the face, which is what I consider, you know, a true good butterfly joint, is if you can get the fist well in front of the face like that. But both sides have that. It's a little stiffer on this side, maybe because of the different plastic or something. I'm not sure, but this is a little bit looser of a cuff than this one is, but it fits in there nice and it looks really good. I dig that articulation. We have double jointed but pinned. Who knows what's going on with McFarlane in 2026? We don't know if he's going to be keeping the DC license or not. I think they're doing everything they can to keep it, and maybe if they do, we can work out getting rid of some of these pins in the future. Do have the double joint there and the hinge and swivel depending on which hand you have on. We do get a little bit of mobility here. I mean, this is a ball joint, so you're getting a little bit of motion, but not a lot of forward and back. That's about as far forward as you're going to get. As you can see, that's not a lot, and it doesn't really go back. But you do have a ball joint down at the waist, and so with the head, the upper, and the lower part of the torso, you can bend forward that far and bend back that far. That's not quite a flight pose, but it's not bad. I'm not mad at it, but I'm not thoroughly happy with it either. Nice Superman trunks. I think Superman is one of the better figures to do their trunk system because it looks more natural. But we do have full rotation at the waist. No drop down. We know that there's not a thigh cut right here. Leg can go forward that far. Can go out to the side that far before the rubbery shorts trunks start pushing it down. Leg can go back that far. Single joint only goes that far. Double joint on the other leg goes that far. So you're losing about, you're losing about 45 degrees here of posability. So not quite the best down there. I would have preferred the double joint here for more posability, of course. We have a hinge, forward-facing pin, and then swivel, and then, of course, toe articulation on both sides, which not the biggest fan of, don't necessarily need it. I think the cape is particularly nice. It doesn't have the yellow Superman shield on the back. I would have preferred that. And I do have one of my wires is kind of exposed. I'm probably going to have to hit that with a stitch or two to keep it in. But other than that, I do think that the weight of the wire is nice. The strength of the wire, I think it's a strong gauge. That's good. And then the weight of the material used here, the soft goods, is nice. So you get some good posability. Still would have preferred if it was, wired all the way around. And then I think that's about it for this guy. Let's bring him out here, because, he is standing around 7 inches because McFarlane's, they're going to McFarlane. But then bringing in my Hush, who without a base or a flight stand just really has a hard time standing up. And I really don't know why. But bringing him in, you can see that they're, this guy's just a hair taller, just a hair, not even, it's negligible. But let's get this guy out of the way. Let's get this guy into some poses and into some lighting. See how he poses up. Now, I don't have the Mafex Cyborg Superman in my collection. This is actually the only Cyborg Superman that I own. So I'm actually really happy to get him into my collection. I have a good buddy that's looking for the red ones, having a really hard time finding that red one. Seems like everybody is snatching him up and selling them for higher prices on eBay. But I don't have a connection to that figure. Famously, I have said on Double Jointed before that I've never even read The Death of Superman. I'm slowly building that collection. I've bought some of the volumes. I need to buy a couple of more. I think I have 1, 3, and 5. I need to buy 2 and 4. And once I have them all, I plan on sitting down and reading them. And so I'll get a better understanding of this character and how he relates to Superman in the stories and stuff. I only know what I've seen in other reviews and a little bit of research I did prior to this video. But I do love the design. I think it looks great. The juxtaposition of the futuristic robot, shiny silver material next to the classic blue and red and yellow. I love characters like this. I love Faker from He-Man, anybody that's an approximation of our hero, and I think this guy looks good. I wish I had a more modern, classic version of Superman, other than the Hush one, to go up against this guy, but it is what it is. And I'm glad to have him in my collection. There's just a few tiny little things like the single jointed knee and the 2 missed places that should have been painted silver that keep this from being a perfect release, and probably also the lack of yellow shield on his back. But other than that, I'm gonna say that this is one of the better releases from McFarlane So far, I think this is one of the better ones. There's a couple little things that keep it from being one of the best releases, and I think if they'd have gone a little bit extra on the quality control, they probably would have sorted that out, and we'd have a fantastic. But hey, I'm not complaining. This is a really good figure, and I'm really glad to have it in my collection. You guys let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think of this guy? Have you picked him up? Are you still looking for him? What are your plans? Are you holding out for that red one? If so, did you have to track it down on the aftermarket, and did you have to pay an arm and a leg? Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching. I super appreciate it. Please continue to check us out over at Instagram at Saturday Morning Toy Collector. And I am your Saturday Morning Toy Collector, Mark, and I will see you in the toy aisles.